Hi there, my name is Brad Philen, and hope you're staying safe and sound wherever you are. This quarantine, lockdown. Today I'm going to read a short story from this Runaway anthology from Madville Publishing. I'm going to read a few pages from a story of mine in here, and it's a wonderful collection of short stories. I highly recommend picking it up. I'm going to read just a few pages here, and the name of the story is called "If That Isn't a Sign from God, Then I Don't Know What Is." Here we go. From the red clay of the North Carolina Piedmont, from the loins of my mama. Don't matter where I'm from, because it's for sure I can't go back. So I'm always thinking, here we go. Now I'm in Vegas driving a limo I rented from a Chinese dude named Chu out in Henderson. And one night, this one guy down at the Venetian that I know calls me and says he has a guest I might want to pick up. It was almost midnight. I say, what do you mean might want to pick up? Bill Joe, he says. His voice is raspy, and he puts you in the mind of one of them Italian mobsters from the movies. Take it or leave it. We're all just trying to make a way out here, you know. The world is full of interesting characters. When I pull up to the lobby driveway, he nods to me and then gestures to a woman standing along the curb. I figured she wasn't a day over 30, and everything she wore was tight and red. Her hair is thick and dark, and little freckles danced on her olive skin. I get out all businesslike and open the trunk. There's her red leather duffel bag on the hotel luggage cart. It's heavy, but not too bulky, not like what most women carry. I put it in the trunk and walk over to get the door for this woman. And as she steps toward the car, she reaches her arm and then her hand behind my neck, like to pull my head down, like she wants to hug me. Sure enough, she does, and then she plants a kiss on my cheek and says, I've been waiting for you. It's more like a wet kiss and a whisper, and I think, here we go. I nod a little misread and say, well, I'm here now. When I open the door, she slides into Chu's limo like she owns the thing, and then she kicks off her high heels. The wind is whipping at me like it's God himself telling me to mind. Once I get into the driver's seat, I call her through the back seat speaker. Ma'am, I say, where to? She sighs and waits, and I start to repeat myself, but then she says, Daryl, no games tonight, let's go home. Here's a question. What's heavier, divine intervention or sin? I think I know the answer. So I push the speak button on the control board, clear my throat, and say, ma'am, I think you have the wrong. But before I can finish, she goes, Daryl, and I'll never forget how she called me like that. Like I was the surest thing in the world. I power the cabin window down and look at her in the rearview mirror. She's so cute and pretty, I think, watching her reapply her lipstick. And I hadn't thought of a woman like that in that way in a long time. And she goes, we made a lot tonight. I hadn't done nothing wrong yet. I don't say anything. She goes, I need a bath, a foot rub, and a brandy. Let's go home, Daryl. Chu's limo has one of those fancy Sirius radios, so I put it on the John Bon Jovi channel and turned that sucker up. I bet Little Miss Red was a 90s rock type of gal. And anyway, who can't get into a song like Living on a Prayer, going 20 miles an hour on the Vegas Strip, where all the neon makes the world feel like cotton candy? I didn't write know where home was or who this Daryl was, but that didn't stop me from driving. I was in it then, or decided I was jumping in it. I get almost to Circus and Little Miss Red must have gotten antsy because she says, Daryl, where are you going now? I say, sugar, not hesitating one bit. The night's young. I thought you might have wanted to go one more round of the Riviera or the Sahara. Not tonight, love. I'm tired, and we won't make it to L.A. till morning. L.A., I say, although I didn't want to say it like that. I retrace my tone. I mean, you sure you want to go all the way to Los Angeles tonight? I look at her then through the rearview mirror. She gives me a look. Home, Daryl, she says, home. If you could talk to God and actually hear him talk back like you could hear his voice, and you knew it was his for sure, what would you ask him? That's a question I think on when I'm juggling like I was with Little Miss Red. I pull into a gas station and park. You want a coffee or a Coke or something for the road? I say. She nods no, and then I fiddle in the glove box and pull out the GPS. Honey, I say, turning around to her through the cabin window. You think you can plug in our address on this thing while I get some snaps? Remember how I got us next to lost last time? At this point, I thought I messed the whole thing up. But what else was I going to do? What would you do, God? What else was I going to do? She stares at me hard like she's testing me. But then she finally sighs like those she foo-foo reality bitches on television do. And what they mean to say is, I'm worth more than 100 U's. She leans toward me, takes the GPS and says, Daryl, hurry, love. If that isn't a sign from God, then I don't know what is. I hurry quick as all get out. And inside the Arco station, I buy her 2 bottles of Evian water, the expensive type, a few organic granola bars, and a thing of Greek yogurt, which I thought she might like, and a Red Bull, a pack of beef jerky, and a pack of Twizzlers for me. I get back to the limo, I open the door, she's sleeping, out cold. I get the black fleece blanket from the trunk that this real old rich lady left in the cab recently and draped it over Little Miss Red. I almost kissed her on the forehead in that soft way I kissed all the lovers in my life, but I didn't. She did type the address into the GPS, 5690 Wilshire Drive, Beverly Hills, California. When I reach the gate to the driveway, it's 4 a.m. and still dark. There's a code lock. For a minute or two, I mash buttons like I know the dang code. I get out, open Little Miss Red's door, and ease my hand back and forth on her forearm until she starts stirring. What is it, she says, waking up. I wonder if I'm still Daryl. It's the gate, I say. I can't get the code to... It's your birthday, Daryl, she says and sighs. Remember? She gives me a look then. Right. Well, I'm thinking, damn, now what? I close the door gently and take out a cigarette. What I'm about to tell you makes no more sense than the man who hammers the nails up his nose. After I smoke half of my smoke, I go ahead and mash in my birthday, 0401, in the code box, and the dang gate opens. Daggone, I think. I try not to act too surprised, thinking she might be looking at me through the limo window. I play it cool, like always, smoke the rest of my smoke, and get back in the driver's seat. So I'll stop there. That's just a few pages from the story. Again, it's called If That Isn't a Sign from God, Then I Don't Know What Is. You can pick this up on Madville Publishing's website, and you can check out other my fiction work at bradphilen.com. Upcoming book coming out in 2020, so stay tuned and thank you and stay safe.